What up, everyone? Pat Mayo here with your 2021 Farmers Insurance Open DraftKings picks and preview. Let's talk about the course. Torrey Pines, you might know it, host of the 2008 U.S. Open, where Tiger won against Rocco Mediate on one leg, and host site of the 2021 U.S. Open coming up in June. But this tournament, a little bit different. There's a two-course rotation this week. The players of 156 players, actually, in the field will split between the North Course and the South Course the first 2 days. What you want to do, especially for DraftKings Showdown contest, target the guys on the North Course. It's much easier. Both par 72s, the North Course, 7,250 yards. Then you go to the South Course, almost 7,800 yards. I'll take the break of 550 yards. The three of the four par fives on the North Course generate more eagles than any of the par fives at the South Course as well. But primarily where the players will be getting 3 rounds at the South Course. That's where we really want to focus in this week. So driving distance, short game, and irons. And that order is the way that you want to play it this week. And hopefully you can catch someone with a hot putter. But you need to be able to get the distance because fairways incredibly difficult to hit this week. So that means fewer greens and regulations hits. It's very hard to scramble. So you need that short game to be able to save par and keep yourself in double digits below even in order to have a chance to actually win this week. For DraftKings pricing, it's pretty clear to me where you want to go at the top. You can make a case for Xander or Tony Finau or Patrick Reed. That's great and everything. Rahm and Rory. Yes, they are the two most expensive players, but they are a cut above everyone else this week. Rahm has never finished outside the top 30 at this event in 4 starts. In fact, he has a win and 3 top 5s in his history so far here. He is coming off an injury last week, but he seems to be fine. That is the only concern about Jon Rahm. Rory's coming over from the Middle East after a 3rd place finish last week. He has been excellent at this course over the years, and he seems to be building himself back up into that top 5 machine that we've seen. Finished top 5 at this course last year. Eventually, he's going to get his breakthrough at Torrey Pines, and whether it's the U.S. Open or it's this time around, I'm going to have some Rory McIlroy in my lineups. Now, it's hard to construct your lineups with those two guys and the rest. You can make it work because there's some decent guys down at the bottom that you can gamble on. Definitely not safe, but if you can use 1 or 2 of those guys, that's the route that you want to take. Dropping into the 9K region, Harris English is there at the very top. People are going to overlook him because he's Harris English, and he's incredibly expensive at $9,800. I like Harris English a lot. He's my favorite of the 9K guys. I'm good with dropping past Sung Jae Im and Brooks and Hovland, Hideki and Matthew Wolff. All decent options, but Harris English, by far my favorite of this bunch. Scotty Sheffler at $9,000, just as a contrarian play coming off of a week where he burned everyone as the highest owned player in the field. No one is going back to him this week. A much better setup for his skill set. But if you're not playing like 20 lineups, you probably don't want to use Scotty Sheffler in like a single entry or a 3 max. The 8K, now, if you don't want to go with the double pay up at the very top, where you just want to use one of Rory or Rahm, this 8K region is where you're going to find your value and build some balance. So there's a lot of decent names in this range. You could use Bubba or Adam Scott, 2 guys that have played this course well in the past, but we haven't really seen much out of them so far. Scott's been like hit or miss. Bubba hasn't played at all. I would rather gamble on Jason Day, who's won here twice in the past 5 years, although we haven't seen him play in 2021. Only 8,600. So you got your Aussies. You got Day and Cam Smith, 86 and 85, like them both. Love Ryan Palmer, 8,400. And I'll go to Will Zalatoris at $8,100. We saw him come inside the top 10 at the U.S. Open. He has a perfect skill set for this course with his distance, with his short game, and his ability to score on hard courses. I'm very curious to see where his ownership comes in, and maybe this field is just too strong for him, but I think that's a very decent price at $8,100 for someone who can really put up some high DraftKings points this week. 7K region, honestly, it's not all that different from the 6K region when you're thinking about how to construct your lineups this week. If it's the difference between someone like Rory and Harris English, or the difference between someone like, let's say, Taylor Gooch at 7,600 or Will Gordon at 63, I'd rather take Will Gordon, get up to Rory in this set of events. If you look at the past champions at the Farmers Insurance Open, they're all quality guys. So it really feels like there's only like 15 guys who can actually win this week, and most of the win equity is at the very, very top. It's not in this region. So there's not a huge difference as long as they get your guys through the cut line between the 7s and 6s. That said, in the 7K region, I'd be willing to take a contrarian play on Francesco Molinari, who does not fit any sort of the skill mold that I'm looking for, but just in terms of overall quality of player, he is very high up there for me. But overall, I'm going to be fading most of the top end 7K range and even the lower 7K range. The only one I really like, the two guys I really like from down in the $7,100, Seb Straka, coming off a week where he screwed everyone who used him. I like the setup for him a whole lot more. Top 20 in driving distance and proximity from beyond 200 yards. Over his past 50 rounds coming into this week, care of fantasynational.com. Let's go back to Seb, only $7,100. Then Matt Jones. Matt Jones. We love the Aussies anyway. He has made the cut more often than not at this course, playing really good golf. Coming in, hits it a mile off the tee, $7,000 for Matt Jones. Not going to be popular whatsoever. And now we get to sprinkling down in the 6K range. Luke List, Wyndham Clark, boom, boom, right away. You can use those guys. They might miss the cut because they can't putt whatsoever, but driving distance, short game, that's where you want to go. Scott Stallings has won this tournament, has a runner-up. No one's really considering him. He's at $6,600. Always putts better on POA. You need a decent putting week out of him, and all of a sudden, he's looking a whole lot better. But I think my favorite play from the 6Ks, besides Luke List is my favorite, then Andy Ogletree, winner of the US Am 2 years ago, made the cut at the Masters, made the cut in his first start as a professional at Mayo. He's looking pretty good down here. Hits the ball a mile off the tee, only $6,600. We check back in with him a year from now at the Farmers Insurance Open. He's probably going to be like $8,700. Talent-wise, no one is better. Hopefully the moment isn't too big for him, but he has the skill set to really achieve way more than this price at $6,600. Then you can just start rolling the dice. Brandon Hagee, Will Gordon, and Ryan Brem, three guys. If you want to try to make Rahm and Rory work, two of those guys will make it work perfectly as long as they end up making the cut. Brem just smacks it off the tee, second in driving distance. Hagee's top 20 in driving distance, coming off a really good week. Good short game to go along with it as well. So those are the guys that you can fill out the back end of your roster if you're willing to inherit some risk this week and really get up to the top end of the DraftKings pricing. My cheat sheet is available on DKNation.com. The full episode of the Pat Mayo Experience, really going in depth on all of these guys, is currently up on Mayo Media Network on YouTube or in podcast form on the Pat Mayo Experience, wherever you download your podcasts. Good luck this week. I'm Pat Mayo.